Let's do a show.
We're
Wonderful,
live.
wonderful Wednesday.
A wonderful Wednesday. We got our series finale of Loki coming at you tonight. A Black Widow.
Yeah,
We went and seen Black Widow. Um,
and the old Max, the IMAX
in the IMAX, yeah.
last Friday.
Yeah.
And of course, we got all our weekly shit and Fear Street. You're forgetting that was last week as well.
Very spooky, very spooky.
So, where to start? Ticker tape as usual.
Ticker tape as usual. I guess we'll start with Black Widow.
Black Widow, as it says below. Spoilers for those of you that don't want to know. I will say this right off the bat. I was really glad that you and I went and saw that shit in IMAX.
Yeah.
Because I started it up on Disney Plus like the next day, and I was like, "Oh, this ain't the same. This ain't the same." Like it's still, it's entertaining, but like just the scope of it all, like how engrossed I was at the theater. Um, I was glad we saw it at the IMAX. It was a dope way to see it. And like I don't know, that to me that was one of the first experiences at the movies like since all this pandemic stuff that I'm like, we're back, baby. The movies are back. Like being in a it's not something about seeing Marvel movies in a theater, man. You always know the crowd you're with is there because they're Marvel fans, and that's always like exciting. I definitely felt
Yeah.
that.
No,
Definitely felt that energy.
I was really hype about it too because it was like, starts off like the big bang of baller ass movies coming to theater because it's like you got Black Widow now, and then it's like cool. Next month you got Suicide Squad, cool, and then the next month, what probably Shang Chi's coming out, I think.
September, yep.
Yeah, and then the next month you'll probably, I don't know what, but like that's where you'll get close to getting Halloween to come out, and
Say October spooky season. We got all sorts of Halloween kills.
mm-hmm.
November Eternals, December Spider Man,
Spider Man.
and then in between all of that, you got Venom. I think is what is that October?
Maybe, yeah, probably.
I don't know. It's in there somewhere. And then every single Marvel show in between, uh, which we still have at least three
Which we saw one of them getting teased at the post credit scene of.
of Black Widow. Yeah.
If you, I don't know who we got as a viewer. I'm sorry if you didn't
Oh,
want them
yeah.
spoilers. Didn't want them spoilers, my man.
It's okay.
You have them.
Spoilers. Black Widow spoilers. No, I really liked the way this movie opened.
Yeah.
I liked this stuff with like the whole undercover Russian family gig and everything like that. Um, what up?
What up, Corey?
Um, and I don't know. I think I told you after we left the theater that night too that I like this new visual style that Marvel's taken on because it's been in a few of their shows so far, and you can tell in the trailers for their movies that there's a new vibe to all of their stuff. It's a little grittier. It's a little like I don't know. There's something to the cinematography that kind of looks a little different.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed Black Widow, but I also understand where some people's problem with the movie is. Uh, like for me, I dug the Taskmaster stuff. I thought it was appropriate. I thought it made sense to the storyline and all that stuff. Like within the Black Widow stuff we already had set up, especially when it was pointed out to me that they brought up Dreykov's daughter in the Avengers. I was like, oh, totally good. Thank you, Internet, as usual, keeping me up
Yeah.
on all these things. Uh, but no, I dug it. I really liked the new characters. Elena was great. Red Guardian was a lot of fun. The action was crazy. I definitely understand where people were like, yeah, it's a little too action packed. For sure. It felt like that a little bit there at the beginning. Moves at a breakneck speed. Just like
You did.
he literally escapes to the woods to like take a minute and doesn't even take a minute. Like gets to the woods, is attacked, action keeps going.
Action, 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 action now. I like action though, so I didn't have no complaints with that.
Right.
Um, it was really predictable though. It was a predictable movie. I like the new characters.
Yeah. I'm excited for the future of Taskmaster. Excited to see what else goes on with that character. And also, like I said when we went and saw it, I'm watching it the whole time. Like, okay, sure, this might not vibe well with other people, but we got the multiverse now, so it's just like they can throw at you as many copies of a character as they damn well please at this point. So if you don't like that, you know, they might do you right by throwing you a bone at some point and being like, "Ah, no, here's Tony Master, just Taskmaster." It's just like,
Right.
you never know. You never know. But I dug it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. Was it? I don't know how I felt about like was it the goodbye that Black Widow deserved? Eh. I don't know. It was a movie. Black Widow was in it.
It's a movie.
It added to the lore of the universe, which is cool for like people like us. I feel like.
I feel like this movie would have done better had they put it where it should have went in the timeline. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Oh, definitely. I feel like I would have been far. I feel like a lot of people would have been far more interested and appreciated it more.
Yeah. If
If it,
this would have came out like right after Civil War, okay.
yeah. Which I've been going through my MCU marathon, and I just happened the last thing that I watched before Black Widow was Civil War, so it worked out perfect. So keep on rolling through that. And
Right.
the ending was a little weird too. That little jump, like the 2 weeks later jump, where it's like, okay, and now we're like leading into Infinity War. But there, I felt like there was a lot of questions there, and I know I'm not the only person who's like, wait a minute, what? Like just gonna roll up in here and did you get arrested? Did you escape? Like what? What was that about? But it was nice to have Marvel back in the movies, and like I said, we don't get end games without a few Dark Worlds. So sometimes you just get okay MCU movies.
Mm-hmm.
I
That's
don't know
true.
if I declare this a full Dark World. I definitely had a lot of fun with this, but it definitely felt like if Marvel did like a Jason Bourne, James Bond crossbreed like spy movie for sure. Like that's definitely how it felt. But and that post credit scene setting up the old Hawkeye series. It's pretty
Pretty
cool.
dope.
And I think that it worked in their favor that Black Widow and Falcon and Winter Soldier got flip flopped because I think that reveal in the post credit scene was more impactful having already seen that character
Mm-hmm.
in Falcon and Winter Soldier. Whereas had it been the other way around, I don't think I would have cared as much. You know?
Nah, I've been like, who the fuck is this?
Right. Right. And then in Falcon and Winter Soldier, it'd be like, oh, it's that person from the other time. But now it's like, no, she's established a little bit. And then it's like, oh shit, like there she is again. Like,
It's like you're making the new Widow team up with U.S. Agent.
yeah,
What?
you're right. See, now, okay, now you have my attention. And her target is Clint Barton Hawkeye. You really got my attention now.
Interesting.
Interesting, interesting. Uh, so yeah, Black Widow.
Black Widow.
Uh,
I give it 7 out of 10.
I too would say 7 out of 10. Definitely a
7
solid 7 out of 10.
It's a movie.
Just entertaining. It's just
Mhm.
7 out of 10. On the flip side of that, though, got some other MCU wrapping up, sort of wrapping up. Season 1 finished up today of Loki.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta say, I was satisfied. I was satisfied with the ending, for sure.
It was different than I expected, but it was still pretty dope.
For sure. I think this whole time watching this show, I still think that this show would have made for like a better movie. I feel like a long ass movie, which is essentially what they did here. But this week to week with this particular episode or this particular show did feel a little tedious at times. Whereas I didn't feel that so much with the last two shows. With this one, I'm like, come the fuck on. Certain
Yeah,
weeks, I'm like, come
they
on.
should have done like a 2-hour series finale. that was last week and this week paired together, because I feel like the action that was in last week coupled with the reveal of this week would have been like,
Yeah, because yeah, what a reveal it was, uh, as we see he who remains at the end of time, and lo and behold, if it isn't Kang the Conqueror in one of his many forms. You said he was a mortis in this, right?
Mortis, yeah.
Yeah, and I dig that actor a lot, Jonathan Majors. He's a great actor, and I think it definitely shows in that episode.
Mm.
I think Loki, like as a series, has been really good about like performances. I think these are some of the best performances in Marvel anything.
Mm.
Uh, like I told you, it just the whole show feels like the world's dopest looking play. Sometimes, you just have your three actors on stage doing their thing, and that's definitely how today's episode felt. But like on such a grand scale, where I'm just like I'm hanging on this motherfucker's every word. I'm just like, tell me more, King. I don't even care that we just had 45 minutes of exposition explained to us. I don't care. I'm intrigued. Um,
There's a lot of intriguing things about it. Miss Minutes being in there, popping up at the end. I was like, don't tell me Miss Minutes is the one.
yeah, that was the theory going around pretty hardcore.
Yeah, I was like, get the fuck out when she popped up.
I really thought that's where it was going for a minute, especially before she popped up and you saw the two statues standing there and they had those like clock faces. I'm like, oh my god, it's Miss Minutes. And then she showed up. I'm like, oh my god, it's Miss Minutes. Miss Minutes is behind everything. So I was imagine my surprise when we moved past that, and there was still yet another person behind the curtain. Uh, but no, I thought, how menacing, in such a different way than Thanos. Like Thanos was menacing. He was like a force to be reckoned with for sure. But Kang, oh man, he just feels like such a different kind of threat. He's so sure of himself. He's so sure-footed, as a villain, and he's just like, I know everything that's going to happen. All that shit. That's kind of intimidating. Like how do you beat somebody that literally knows everything you're going to do?
Yeah.
Uh, and then for him
He
to,
did up until a point.
Mhm. and then to offer up that ultimatum of like, kill me, don't kill me. Here are your options. But either way, I'm gonna be back up in this bitch. And I was just like, I appreciated the attitude. Uh, yeah, I really dug it. I'm excited to see him again. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
who knows how soon we'll see him? We might see him again by the end of the year in Spider-Man, or we might see him in Doctor Strange 2. But we're for sure going to see him in Ant-Man 3 as the main villain there.
Mm-hmm.
So exciting stuff for sure. And that multiverse is just to shit. It's complete. It's madness.
Yep. It's a multiverse of madness, one would say.
Yeah,
So
one might.
it was a very good finale. Leaves Loki on a very nice spot. Come back for another season. That's the big tease at the end.
Yeah,
They got another season.
which I wish they had done a little more there. Like I said, I wish there was a little more substantial post-credit scene. But at the same time, as opposed to the past two Marvel shows, like they had their ripple effects. I feel like Loki's the first show that really just like shattered like the majority of the MCU moving forward. So it's kind of big for their Disney Plus shows. So
Mm.
I'm digging it. And then we got less than a month. We'll be talking about what if. So
What if?
what if we didn't? What if we didn't? Alternate
What
time.
if
I
Chase Shep had money?
like that scenario. I like that alternate timeline.
Let's watch that one play out.
We came up with a whole what if scenario for our own show yesterday or the day before that. You weren't involved in that conversation, but I was talking to somebody about if we had killed a particular character off in the very first scene of episode 1, if he never makes it to camp, if he got struck by the bus in the opening scene, how the entire show would change. just by taking this one character out in the first episode, we really wouldn't have a show anymore. Some events might still go down, but I think a lot of that hinged on his survival. So the prospect of a what if scenario, it intrigues me. So I'm excited for August 11th.
Should be pretty dope, man. Should be pretty dope.
For sure. It's all Marvel all the time from here on out. Pretty much.
Right.
A little dash of horror every now and then.
Horror, a little bit of Suicide Squad.
Right. I figure that's still superhero realm, sort of deal.
Yeah.
See, it's usually superheroes or something blood soaked here at Chase Shep. I mean, I watched SpongeBob last night. I watched Sponge on the Run last night, and that was great fun. So sometimes things get shaken up. But so what's next?
Got Rick and Morty down there.
Rick and Morty. This week it was weird.
It was a weird, wild episode of Rick and Morty this week.
It was really, really fucking weird.
Morty has sex with a horse ejaculator. Rick uses horse semen for something, and it turns gigantic Morty semen.
Creates these monster semen, and their master plan to beat it is to create a massive egg. Nobody knows that it's Morty's semen until the end, and so his sister offers her egg, and then they make a giant incest baby by the end of this episode. So it's like it's episodes like this where it's like, this is why I have a hard time selling other people on Rick and Morty. When I'm like, no, it's a really good show, like it's really clever, it's really well written, and then like you say a plot like this out loud, and you're like, try it out, like maybe just watch it, maybe it's your cup of tea, maybe not, This is an odd one.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Maybe. I thought it was funny. They had some pretty good pretty funny things going on in it with the horse people, and then Rick having a baby with one, and them just fucking off and then being like, all right.
Yeah. It was a good episode, but it was a weird one for sure.
As it always is.
That's gonna happen for a crazy ass sci-fi show that's been renewed for 70 plus episodes. It's we're probably gonna get into some weird shit.
They can kind of do whatever the fuck they want,
or whatever they need to
right?
keep the contract going. But yeah, that's about all I have to say about that this week. Dave, I didn't finish it.
Didn't finish it. It's a pretty solid episode, I think, about him and his buddy. Getting into it a little there.
I was gonna say last week I was saying how I wanted to see more of that character, and he showed up this week, and I was like just not happy about it because he was being an ass. I'm like, my dude, this isn't what I wanted. And like, I don't remember. Did something happen in season 1 between those two? Because all of season 2, they've been like at each other's throats. I don't know if they got into it in the second half of this episode or not, but
they get into it doing the basketball, and I think the episode plays out like it's at the bar mitzvah. The way the episode finishes is they're at the bar mitzvah the next day, and Dave is like, yeah, I'll go up and talk to the kids about being like a grown-up, and he's telling them all the ridiculous shit he's been saying the whole episode about how he like licked the hamster's pussy when he was 12 and shit like that. And like, they're like, yeah, I want to be just like you when I grew up. And he's like, no, you don't. You want to, and something pops up that he's like, looking at his friend, and he's like, you got to handle your responsibilities, and sometimes you got to be a man and be the bigger person and speak up first and shit like that. And he fucking ends up like, those kids go and tell their dad the shit, so he kicks little Dicky out. And his DJ dude friend comes up and he's beside him, and he's like, fuck that, we're under a contract, so you're still gonna pay us because it's a contract and shit like that. they go out of there and set all like the circus animals free and shit like that together, and they're laughing and they run off. And after they run off and shit, like the dad's all pissed, so he ends the party, and then Gata ends up pulling up, and he comes up, and the little kid who's its bar mitzvah is like all sad and shit, and he's like, you know, my dad kicked little D out, and you know all this shit. So Gata's like, don't worry, man, I got you, and he starts playing one of his songs on his car speaker, and everybody from the party comes out and starts rocking with him and shit like that. So it ends on like a real high note for Gata, like performing for this little kid and like making this little kid's party lit again. So it had a pretty nice end to the episode.
Whenever Hulu gets its shit together, I'm gonna have to finish it.
It's weird because that's where I watched it.
It was on Hulu. That's what I started watching. Like I said, it was on there, and then like right now, for whatever reason, it says it's not on there. It's like,
but I watched it like the other day.
Yeah, that's when I started it. Was the other day. So who knows? Who knows? Who knows?
Good episode though. I'm hyped for tonight's episode.
Yeah, yeah. I know a show actually starts tomorrow. I didn't realize it started tomorrow, and I'm actually kind of hyped on. American Horror Stories starts tomorrow, and I'm a sucker for like a good, like, I don't know. I feel like it's been a minute since I've had like an anthology show like that. Like I like my like Tales from the Dark Side and Goosebumps and shit like that, where it's like every week you get a new story and that's something, and so that'll be kind of dope to start watching.
Might have to check it out.
I do. I think we're definitely gonna have to check out episode 4 because it's Christmas. It's a Christmas themed episode. So
I think next month the third season of Titans starts.
Yeah,
I think.
Looks wild.
So that's another one that I know I'll be watching.
This Friday, the Fear Street trilogy concludes, but this past Friday we got part 2.
Part 2, yeah. 1978.
I dug it. I feel like I dug the first one like a little more than that second one, but I still liked the second one quite a bit. I felt like even though the kills were like a lot, simpler, just your classic slasher stuff in part 2, some of that shit felt so brutal. Like every single one of those kills, I'm just like, you got him, god damn, you know what I mean? Like,
he just kept hacking with that.
Yeah. Like he just goes to fucking town on these people.
He really do though.
And same as the first movie, those needle drops are, they're great. What a soundtrack. Who knows what bops from 1666 they'll get for part 3?
And it's cool. Yeah, that's true. I like it though. It's interesting to see what they're gonna do, and how that one's being done. Like I told you, I was like, it reminds me a lot of Evil Dead.
Yeah.
And on the third one, he went back to medieval times and shit like that. It reminds me a lot of that.
Yeah. And that's why when, after watching the first one, I said that I feel like this is the best slasher since Scream. Because I feel like it's the first time a slasher series has done something this different since Scream. It doesn't just feel like a slasher movie, like, oh, dude in a mask is coming to get us, sort of thing. Like, there's a lot of new shit here for the genre that I think is a lot of fun. I like the blending of like the supernatural stuff and the slasher stuff, and like I'm a sucker for a good witchcraft story. So like it's definitely, I was right in the pocket for this. I feel like as far as the demographic audience goes. But we'll see if they stick that landing with part 3, because the first 2 have been very enjoyable. It's definitely been.
I think the third one has the most interesting bad guy, I guess I could say, in my opinion. The guy that cuts the kid's eyeballs out.
Yeah. Should be interesting. Yep. Curious to see how it all.
And all the people from the movies are all in it. So.
Yeah, that's what. Honestly, it was that ending to part 2 that got me the most intrigued for part 3. Like, because part 3, already seemed interesting to me, but that little switch up there at the end, I was like, interesting. How's that going to work? How's that all going to play out?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It's been that year, man. 2021, year of the summer camps. It's like 2012 was the year for archery. We're catching the summer camp vibes.
Yeah.
And I told you, even fucking SpongeBob was hitting those summer camp vibes. I was like, man, can't get away from it.
Everybody's on the train.
Everybody, choo choo, choo choo. Speaking of which, of course, you got summer camp of horrors coming right around the corner from us. We've been working hard, and I'm very proud of everybody who's working on it.
Mm-hmm.
I think everybody's doing a really great job. I can't wait for everybody to see this. It's quite a leap from your usual Chase and Shep fare, and who knows what the future will bring after this. But we're hyped. We're hyped for everybody to check it out, so that maybe someday, and we can all go full circle, and somebody can react to our show on their YouTube channel.
That would be dope.
Close the circuit.
Close the circuit. Who knows? We'll see. Only the future can tell.
Only the future. Only the future, or he who remains. Only he to tell you. He who
Right.
all. I think that's everything.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, I've seen some shit here and there. Nothing too much of note. What should we watch? What should we check out? Are there things that we're not watching that we should be watching?
Yeah.
I know I usually don't get into the Emmys. I usually don't give a shit. Oscars is about the one time a year I get into awards like that. But this year I was pretty excited to see Marvel get so many Emmy nominations.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing that really threw me off was how WandaVision got 25 nominations, and Falcon and Winter Soldier got 5. Like, so Falcon and Winter. So what you're telling me is Falcon and Winter Soldier was eligible for the awards this year, and they only got 5. That really blew me away, especially as far as like the acting categories. Like, and I scrolled through there, and I was so shocked that Wyatt Russell didn't get nominated for playing John Walker, because you want to talk about a fucking dope ass performance. I thought his was one of the best.
Mm-hmm.
But you know who did get nominated for acting for Falcon and Winter Soldier? Don Cheadle for his 95 seconds on screen. Yeah, I keep seeing the article where even he's like, I don't know, man. he's like, I don't get it either. I'm like, damn. I remember being in it.
He's cool.
I didn't realize he came in and knocked it out of the park so hard in fucking 90 seconds. Take notes, Shep. That could be you. You could be winning Emmys.
You mean Emmy?
Craziness. Well, that's it for us.
Guess that's it.
I believe I don't know if I'm allowed to say anything yet or not. I'm going to, but if you can't get enough of me, I'll be on another podcast as well now. Double duty here at the Chase and Shep Show, talking our usual jazz, doing our usual thing, but now doing podcasts by committee as well in a big old group, the Shorts and Hoodies podcast. I guested on a couple episodes before when it was originally just hosted by Dash Michaels. But now there's 5 hosts. I am one of them. That'll be a weekly thing, kind of like a morning radio talk show sort of deal. We're going to be talking about anything and everything. So the sultry sounds of my voice and others.
Mm-hmm.
Find us over there.
Sounds dope, bro.
Coming at you.
Should be hype.
All righty, gang.
We'll figure out some shit to talk about next week.
I was going to say, what now?
We don't have any Loki, but we'll have something, I guess.
Peace.
Smooches and deuces.